Alright, let's dive into something that's both fascinating and, honestly, a bit alarming. Have you ever wondered why so many people suffer from chronic low back pain? I mean, it's one of those issues that seems almost universal as we age. Well, recent research is pointing to a culprit that's both surprising and deeply connected to the aging process: cellular senescence. Now, before you tune out thinking this is just another science-heavy topic, stick with me, because this is where biology meets real-life pain, literally. Here's the hook. Imagine if the very cells in your spine, which are supposed to keep you flexible and pain-free, start turning against you. That's essentially what's happening in intervertebral disc degeneration, IDD. And what's driving this? Senescent cells. These are cells that have stopped dividing and start secreting harmful signals, creating a toxic environment that accelerates the breakdown of your spinal tissues. Personally, I think this is one of those aha moments in science. It's not just about aging, it's about understanding how specific cellular changes lead to something as debilitating as chronic pain. What makes this really interesting is how these senescent cells operate. They don't just sit there. They actively release what's called the senescence-associated secretory phenotype, SSP. Think of SSP as a troublemaker. It's a mix of inflammatory and tissue-altering signals that disrupt the delicate balance of your spine. From my perspective, this is where the story gets compelling. It's not just about cells aging, it's about them becoming agents of destruction, slowly eroding the very structures that keep us moving. Now, let's zoom in on the intervertebral disc. This isn't just a random part of your body, it's a marvel of engineering. Composed of the nucleus pulposus, annulus fibrosus, and cartilaginous endplates, it's designed to absorb shock and allow movement. But when senescence kicks in, everything starts to fall apart, literally. The disc loses elasticity, inflammation spikes, and degeneration accelerates. One thing that immediately stands out is how interconnected these components are. If one part fails, the whole system suffers. What this really suggests is that spinal health is far more fragile than most of us realize. Here's where it gets even more intriguing: the triggers for cellular senescence. We're talking oxidative stress, DNA damage, and mitochondrial dysfunction. These aren't just random events, they're part of the aging process. But what many people don't realize is how these factors activate pathways like NF-kappa B, P53/P21, and PI3K/AKT/mTOR, which then amplify inflammation and cellular arrest. If you take a step back and think about it, this is a cascade of events that's both precise and devastating. It's like a domino effect, but instead of falling pieces, it's your spinal health at stake. Now, let's talk about the broader implications. Senescence doesn't just affect one part of the disc, it's a full-scale assault. In the nucleus pulposus, it leads to a loss of structural cells, making the disc less resilient. In the annulus fibrosus, it weakens the outer ring, compromising integrity. And in the cartilaginous endplates, it disrupts nutrient exchange and promotes calcification. This raises a deeper question. If senescence is such a central player, why aren't we targeting it more aggressively in treatments? And that's exactly where the field is heading. Emerging therapies are focusing on eliminating senescent cells or suppressing SSP signaling. In my opinion, this is a game changer. Instead of just managing pain, we're talking about addressing the root cause. A detail I find fascinating is how this shift mirrors a broader trend in medicine, moving from symptom management to targeting underlying biological mechanisms. It's not just about spinal health, it's about rethinking how we approach aging-related diseases. So, where does this leave us? Personally, I think this research is a wake-up call. It's not just about understanding why our backs hurt, it's about recognizing that cellular senescence is a pivotal force in aging. If we can crack this, we're not just improving spinal health, we're potentially unlocking new ways to combat age-related decline across the board. What do you think? Is this the future of treating chronic pain, or are we just scratching the surface? Let me know in the comments below.